It's the end of Newcastle 1.0 and now the beginning of Newcastle 2.0. What does that mean? And who is Amar Dedić? The club, Newcastle United, are club to club talks with Benfica over the fullback. Let's find out all this and more on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Brilliant from Shea. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Shea away.
All right, folks. I hope you guys are all well. Hope you guys are all blessed. Whatever you are doing, you could have been anywhere in the world. You're right here with me. And God bless you for that already. Great to see folks in the chat. I'm going to be saying hello to everybody in a moment. But how are you all doing, first of all? I hope you guys are having a blessed day, evening, day, or night, or shift, no matter where you are, what you're doing. It's an incredible sea of change Newcastle are facing at the moment, on and off the pitch. So we've got lots to talk about on tonight's show. We are going to break down the article, an interview that George Colkin did via the Athletic with Hopkinson, David Hopkinson, a couple of days ago. It didn't get as much media traction as I thought it should, because literally Mr. Hopkinson lays out the blueprint of everything that Newcastle are planning to do. So we're going to break it down on the show today. But before we do all of that, we've got a couple of things that we've also got to talk about: new transfers, Amar Dedić, transfers that didn't happen before we get in terms of Mr. Hojberg himself, or as I now call him, Mr. Noberg. So we'll be talking about that and more in a moment. Before I get into it, make sure we say hello to each other. Good to see my man Pro Clubs. God bless you. He says hi. Good to see my man Adrian Pickett. As I always say, if I see Adrian Pickett watching the show live, I know I'm doing something right. God bless you, Adrian. Good to see you, sir. Doing well. Hope you're well, Phil. I'm living life to the full. I get to do this incredible show. I've been doing it with you guys. It's an incredible, incredible, incredible blessing to be here as well. Family are well, everybody's well. And a lot of things is happening with our club. So it's going to our club, but it's with our club, so we'll get to talk about it all today. Good to see my man James here as well. God bless you. So, hey, mate Phil, I'm glad to have a break from the moment in Newton Heath fans due to them thinking this fullback is going to be the replacement. Man. Yeah, they're really, I don't know if it's necessarily just about Hall for them. I think it's their transfer window. Man United's transfer, Newton fans being Man United. I think it's their transfer window. And for most clubs, I've been listening to different podcasts, and a lot of fans feel their teams, in this case, Man United fans feel their team's transfer business has fallen short of expectations a little bit. And so that, plus the fact that Hall is an incredible player, they're clinging on to whatever, anything that appears to be good news. So it is what it is. But on tonight's show, before we get into the whole article of Mr. David Hopkinson, which I think is a huge article, an important article, because it's going to set the blueprint. And guys like James and Adrian and others like that will tell you that we're reading articles like this or similar to this most of last year before the pre-season. And so, before the transfer window opens, so we've got to have a good idea. We didn't get the exact blueprint. We wouldn't know that Eddie Howe's leaving or anything like that, or stuff like that. But we've got a good idea about what Newcastle were planning, and we were able to speculate at least what to expect about who's likely to stay, who's likely to go. So that's why it's very, very important in terms of transfers, but also how and where the team is moving, the club is moving. So I think it's very, very important for us to take our time with these type of articles and to read them. There's an hour and a half long interview, and when I would encourage folks next time Mr. Colkin gives any news or information or background on Newcastle, that it's very likely to coming from Mr. Hopkinson's camp. Okay, so I want to talk about before we get to that article, and before we get to talk about a little about Dedić, read a scouting report on him. I'm going to catch up on this some of the stuff that has been going on. First of all, Mr. Hojberg. Mr. Hojberg says Noberg to Newcastle United. What do you guys think about that? Are some of you relieved? Are some of you annoyed? Are some of you relieved but still annoyed at the fact that we got, some people put it, we got rejected by a player who's, beginning to, at the end stage, or not the end stage, coming towards the end of his career, and isn't the most high caliber of players in terms of the players that Newcastle have previously been rejected by. But we got rejected by him nonetheless, as that kind of adds to some of the annoyance. I know that some fans feel a bit annoyed. They feel there's a tinge of shame and stuff like that. Me personally, I have, and I'm learning to ignore the noise, because it will drive you crazy if you don't. I'm just trying to find the article I had on Hojberg, but essentially everything that go to the people that are ready to be real about their clubs. This whole media thing about Newcastle and rejections and hijacks and only kind of talking like that about Newcastle is insane. But it's all part of the game. What can we do? Are you guys having internet problems? I see a few people saying they've got internet problems. Let me know if you can hear me, or I don't know what the issues are. I'm sorry. Hopefully your internet gets fixed pretty soon. Good to see my man Aaron here. Ian, I think, has got internet problems as well. Ian, good to see my man Ian here. God bless you. Aaron, God bless you. He says high wages and length of contract was the issue. That's what people are saying. That's what the ITKs are saying. I haven't heard it from I want to say, when I say official, but like a known source just yet. So I want to be able to hear from you. Good to see my man Raymond. He says hi to Philip. How are you? I'm very well, sir. Living life to the full. I love the manager. Arma Dedić should sign for Newcastle United right now, and Amar Dedić makes a move for Newcastle United right now. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be talking about him. So it seems like he is. Stream issues. Gordon Bennett says there's stream issues. I'm thinking, because there must be something up. Let me know, guys, how it's progressing, how it's processing. Hopefully, let me know when it's okay. Let me know if it's okay. If you need me to repeat anything, do let me know. I'm happy to do that. Yes, I saw him getting unveiled. We'll talk about the interview a little bit. I forgot. We're going to talk about his interview. He's unveiling. I've got a couple of things I wanted to talk about Jaissle's unveiling. Gordon Bennett's field. The stream has died. The stream has died. Has my stream died, guys? Guys, let me know if you can hear me. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if everything is clear. Am I just talking to myself? Because I can see I can still see like a live number of people. Let me know. Let me know, guys, in the chat if you can hear me. I can see you guys talking in the chat. So my assumption is you can hear me. You can see me. You can hear me. You can see the thing. Oh, Ian says it did, but like a phoenix from the ashes, you are back. Okay. Jordan says you were talking to yourself for a few minutes. Yeah. Oh, jeez, Louise. Okay. Well, that's nothing new. I talk to myself anyway. Okay. So I don't know how much you guys missed. I I was making a comment. I don't know if it was you, Gordon Bennett, around it's always when it's Newcastle, it's rejections and hijacks, and when everybody else is not. And how you have to go to, real streamers like Mark Goldbridge and stuff like that who talk real about their own team. And they're like, he's from Man United said, yeah, we got rejected or failed in our transfers with Mateus Fernandes, with Tonali's. Like, you have to kind of, I don't know what this other stuff that, the likes of Fabrizio are doing. No, you haven't missed the Dedić report. I'm going to talk about it. Johan's definitely not. I'm going to talk about it, Ian. Johan says, but everything else is fine. Good. Good to see you, my man, Johan. God bless you. God bless my man, Register Kev. He's big up, Phil. Congrats on your fullback. I'm keeping an eye. You know that song, the Mariah song? Why are you so obsessed with me? Da, 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 da. That's with me. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for the main thing is that you guys hear. Good. Thank you for that, Adam. Appreciate you, sir. God bless. You know I'm playing. All right, so for me, like I said, on Hojberg, I think he would have been a good addition. If it still happens, I still think he's a good addition. I did a post or I did a scouting report on him on X. Please do check it out. I'm sure, hopefully, if you have, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I think he would have provided leadership. I still think he's got some quality. When I speak to Spurs fans like Ashmatic, like Jay, they speak quite glowingly about him. His scouting reports are quite positive. He's still a quality player, still a quality leader. And with a young team we've got, or younger team, especially very, very young team in the middle of the park, he would have added that quality and that leadership, in my opinion. Okay. Now, I don't want to spend too much time because I'm going to do a scouting report in a minute. But I don't know if you guys seen this report on Luis Suarez, not the Luis Suarez, not Mr. Barcelona, Mr. Luis Suarez, or Inter Milan where he's at, but Sporting Lisbon, Luis Suarez. Oh, there's flies everywhere. There's Sporting Lisbon, Luis Suarez is apparently, now this came from he's Newcastle. He's very close to joining Newcastle, according to this one report, and the deal is to be done at 55 million with add-ons. This is from Rui Berge de Transferencias. Now, I'm going to hop onto this account. It is a small account. I hate saying that, or I don't hate saying that, but I say that because it does mean something. Whether your account, especially if you're a transfer or budding transfer journo, the size of your account does hold some weight, right? If you want to be a journalist or a transfer guru, whatever it is, then the size of your account does have some say in your credibility and what you do. So that's why I mentioned the size of his account. Now, this is what Rui Berge de Transferencias says. I'm assuming he's either Portuguese or Brazilian. Insider to Sporting Lisbon, that's who he is. He's got 991 followers. Now, this particular post though got him 29 reposts, 41 comments, and 343 likes and 12 bookmarks. So it's and 65,000 views. Okay, so it says Luis Suarez is very close to Newcastle. I'm assuming it means close to joining Newcastle. I don't think he's a Colombian striker who likes Newcastle, for instance. The deal could be done at 55 million with add-ons included. What? Now, I was going to do a scouting report on him, but it's 5 minutes before the show came on. Before I give my thoughts on this, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. There was I had something on him. I just want to give I'll give a small summary on him to give you guys a bit of an idea if you've never heard of him before. This is not the Luis Suarez, Barcelona, Liverpool Suarez, not that one. It's who's currently in Inter Milan. It's Mr. Luis Suarez. is from Sporting Lisbon. Okay, so let me just bring this up. Let me get the old Google AI. So nothing thorough, but I thought it's important to mention. Let me bring this up. Share this instead. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay, so he's first of all, he's 28. He's going to be 29 in September, right? And this report is saying we're paying 55 million. I better be euros. 55 million. He's known for his 28-year-old Colombian centre forward Sporting Lisbon, known for explosive pace, intelligent off the ball movement, and lethal finishing. He has a prolific talisman following a stellar campaign. Let me quickly look up what his campaign was. He's the gentleman who replaced Gyökeres. So he replaced Gyökeres, and I think he came from the second division. So he's only been in 1 year in top flight all of his career, which is interesting. I know we like to get players before they, our new kind of model is to get players before they, really, really do well, break out. But this is taking the liberties. So let me see here. So last year he played 4,164 minutes. He scored 36 goals and had 8 assists, which is really impressive. So 38 goals. He's nearly 6'1", something along those lines. Right. Okay, I'm not going to go too into him. I struggle to believe the story. One, because of his age. Two, because of his because of the money that we're allegedly offering for him, and three, because of the league that he's coming from. The league isn't, with the new way that we're doing things, the league isn't overly important, though it is important. But he's not played at this level before. I'll find it really, really interesting if Newcastle were to put Akanoli as all the eggs in their basket into this strike, especially when we've got Wissa. But you guys let me know what you think about that. I thought it was important to mention as it is news. The other story is, now I'm gonna go once this one's finalized a little bit. I'm going to do more of a background story, a background check and work on this, because I think it's quite important. And this comes from Ben Jacobs himself. He says Newcastle United are showing an interest in Borussia Dortmund's chief scout, Sebastian Krug. Spurs are also looking, apparently. And then what's interesting about this is, I don't know if you guys remember, Keith Downey did an interview a few weeks ago. You know those interviews that he does when he's in his car and everything else. He did this interview, and he talked about how the feedback he's getting from Newcastle in terms of how the club is changing and what the new agenda is that they're looking at a potential something similar to the Dortmund model. So it is interesting that this is just my mind connecting things. It could be 2 + 2 = 5 in a situation, but it is interesting that he mentioned that, and that Newcastle are looking at a Dortmund scout. Now, obviously, the line got the key line in this is Krug played a role in bringing Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham to Dortmund. I think that's the selling point here, right? How big a role is where my research will go into, but also I want to know all of his successes and all of his failures, right? But you're not going to do that. You've already got so many words in a post to do. But I'm assuming he's German from his name and the fact that he's in, obviously at a German club, Dortmund model, Dortmund manager. Now that we've got a German manager, a German staff, It seems like Newcastle United owners are, if this goes through, and I'll be doing a lot of I never knew if Newcastle do get him, it'll be a very interesting conversation added to what we're having today as well, about the whole kind of reset and change. I'll be really, really curious to see how that goes. So let me know what you guys think. And we're going to move on to the Arma Dedić. Do I want to talk about him, or do I want to do Jaissle first? I'm going to do Jaissle first. I'm going to do Jaissle interview first. Then I'll do Dedić, and then I'll talk about what I want to talk about at the end. So much stuff. Register Kev says, I love this little back and forth thing we got. I won't let you forget until Lewis is. God bless you, my friend. Kevin Hawthorne, my man Kevin, is here. God bless you. Says, good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. Good afternoon to you, sir. My man, Bobby Fairview's here. God bless you. Says, big up Philip and Toon fans. I hope you're all doing well. When are you guys coming for Jackson? He looks like he's missing. Do you know what? I fully agree with you. I know you got a little cheeky wink there, but he'll be fantastic for us. I've totally forgotten about Jackson because I just think he's going to Aston Villa. I think when you're talking about he's the missing piece, I think Chelsea and Villa have their own kind of co-conspiracies, co-defendants, partners in crime thing going on. So I don't know, but I would love Jackson. I think you're right about that though, Bobby. He would really be the missing piece for this Newcastle team. He's at Inter Milan. He's at Inter Miami, not Inter Milan. Did I say Inter Milan program? Thank you for the correction. Adrian says, it would be nice to have a Colombian up top. Man, memories. Those are memories, man. J7 is staying. James says that the release clause is 50 million for the fullback, so probably only 2 or 3 players coming in now. Yeah, they say 53 million release clause. I will be surprised if we paid that. I would be a little bit surprised if we paid that. Let me see what else you guys are saying. No, he's a sporting version of Suaraz. Okay, so talking to somebody else. Sorry, guys. I thought I was going to sneeze and burp at the same time. Ooh, forgive me. Thank you. All right. Big up Tunnel TV. Always good to see you guys. God bless you. Sorry, excuse me. 4. It says, big up the reset. You never know. Newcastle may do a Brentford. I think you're saying smash them likes. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're trying to do it from what it looks like. This is just me putting the pieces together, Dortmund or something. But it's important. It's an important way to kind of. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. Is it a Dortmund? Is it a style of model? What's the reset all about? So hopefully we'll have you guys on. James says, interesting. The Forest they're looking at signing. Excuse me. James is interesting that for Forest they're looking at signing Liam Delap 50 million. That's not a good deal, but it's interesting. I like Liam Delap, so I'm probably one of the few people who likes Liam Delap. For all my failings, I'm one of the few people that likes Liam Delap. I really, really think Newcastle should be all over it, Liam or Jackson. So I really hope we get on it. Joe Hanses will win a cup. We'll get good draws. No more City, and Jaissle's cup competition record is really good. Yeah, I hope we continue our cup competition. That is really, really important. Our cup record, it's been very, very good. My man Robo Jog here. God bless you, sir. Hey Phil, good to see you, sir. Hey chat. He did miss me. He missed buffering for 5 minutes. Okay, brilliant. I haven't got it on here, but I wanted to look at the I wanted a few things to talk about from the Jaissle press conference, or as Mr. Hopkins likes to call him, MJ, and everybody else is beginning to call him MJ. But I'm a formal guy. I'm a formal person. I try to be. I can't. I'm not that. I'm not. Maybe you guys are. I'm not against anybody. I'm not like if you call him MJ, you call him MJ, innit? But unless like even if I don't know, like there's I'm the type of person like say your name is I'm trying to think of a short name, William, and people call you Bill for short, like people that call you Bill for short. But if I personally, if like I've just met you and I know you as William, and you haven't said to me, my name is William, but you can call me Bill, I will I will continue to call you William until you say, yeah, just call me Bill. Even if everyone around you, I know, if everyone around you calls you Bill, I'm calling you William. That's the kind of guy I am. Now, I wanted to I wanted to cover a few points in this Jaissle press conference, and I want to hear some of you guys' views, because I won't be able to go. Well, I always say this. I'm not going to go as in depth, and I end up doing it anyway. I got 3 points from this, right? And I only got to listen to it one time from the show. So if you guys got extra bits you want to add to it, let me know. The first point is a great question from Louise Taylor. I know she gets absolute stick online, but I from fans, but I don't understand why she gets called a Sunderland fan, all this type of thing. But in this press conference alone, and this happens all the time, anybody who pays attention to these press conferences, right? I don't rate most of our journalists at all. You have one journalist, it's like they don't even listen to each other. So they end up even in this interview, they end up repeating the same question each and every time. And Jaissle even said it again. And if you had Eddie Howe doing it, he goes, yeah, as I said, in literally the question that just happened. They don't put it like that. I would put it like that. I can be a little bit short and rude sometimes. That's where I have to get better. But Eddie handled it with grace. Jaissle handled it with grace. Where you literally just had, you got these reporters. You can hear what the other guy is saying. He's asked the question. You literally repeat the very same question. And I just think to myself, I've gone off on a tangent here with journalists. I just think to myself, you're getting paid by your bosses you're getting paid good money. You're paying your mortgage, your rent. It's like that. That Brazilian. I don't know if it's Spanish, Colombian meme where the guy talks about the footballer, the Mr. Sitter, and he talks about get this fresh sheets, fresh hotel, big money, lots of girls, and so when you're called to be up on this pitch, you've got this opportunity to score. You have to score it, and that's what I think when I hear these journalists. Sometimes I'm like, hold on, you get paid this big money. You represent, an established, media outlet, and you can't be bothered to listen to what the journalists before you have already said, only for you to waste time and repeat the very same question again. Anyway, so why I like Louise Taylor is that she doesn't waste her questions. She asks a good question. She asked him about, and we're going to go straight into this. She says to him, and you've talked about extensively about your front-footed football style, which is what Eddie Howe had, right? And she doesn't quite say it like this, right? But this is what she's saying. But the issue, which is good, we like the front foot style, the intensity style. But the issues with it was, and we've identified it in the show, is that we often lack control in football matches, which leads to back and forth football. We end up losing these games. How do you plan to have some level of control in these games? Essentially saying, how do you avoid repeating the mistakes of the past? bearing in mind, yes, we want front-footed football, we love front. And actually, when she asked the question, he said to her, "This is very good analysis." I know that for some reason Louise Taylor gets absolute stick, but she asked the, I don't know, she doesn't. I don't care. I'll say I don't care what everybody says about Louise Taylor. She asks proper questions. Anyway, so let's hear it because I do think this is important. We talked about it. We talked about it actually in our review of Newcastle United. That being one of the key problems as to why we lost so many games. We lost so many leads. It was because of this lack of control. So let's see. Hopefully, I got it exactly where I want it to be.
By the way, I think football is really complex, right? It's not only.
Let me just go about a little bit because she just asked the question.
Would be better.
A nice analyze. By the way, I think football is really complex, right? It's not only out of possession.
Let me just go back a little bit, just because she asked the question really well. And he said, that's a nice analysis, which is a nice analyze.
Sort of struggled to sometimes control games was caused perhaps the poor league position. And
true, that is true. We struggled to control games, which resulted in our poor league position. Yes.
do you think that perhaps sometimes there was perhaps too much chaos, whereas a little bit more control in possession would be better?
True. There was a little bit too much chaos. Do you guys remember the Everton game? Do you guys remember the Brentford game? How many other games? We lost 20, 28, 29 points from leading positions. Oh, jeez Louise. True. And he's about to answer. He's got a smile on his face about it, which is interesting.
A nice analyze, by the way. I think football is really complex, right? It's not only out of possession, really intense, high press. At one point, why we're doing that? To have the ball also. We want to win the ball. And then you need to have solutions.
Okay, so why are we doing high intensity in the first place? Because we want to win the ball back. That's what we're doing, high intensity and pressing up high in the first place.
As well. And then you need to be smart. You need to have your identity, how we want to play. That's what I said, vertical.
Then you need to be smart. You need to make solutions. And we still want to be able to be vertical, which means he means that. Like, he's not just saying that, guys. He means that.
Target orientated, we want to score goals, but it also depends how the opponent is playing. This is always an adaptation as well. You need to be smart, what the opponent is giving you, and you need to use then their weaknesses and including.
So this is the part I do like about what he's saying. We need to think about what the opponent is doing, and we need to be able to capitalize on their weaknesses. So he's not giving the whole game away, which is smart, right? But I reading between the lines, what he's saying here when he's talking about the opponent, when he's saying we need to be smart, we need to think about what the opponent is doing is, I'm going to be flexible. I am going to adjust. He's not going to like lay out the blueprint in this press conference and tell the whole world this guy is going to do it. But if I'm reading between the lines, I think this is what he's indicating.
Using our strength.
Great question. Great question, in my opinion, and great answer. Just go and see if you guys, which one of you are answer it. Talking about here, Wolbojog, I think I saw something from Wolbojog. Wolbojog says you can tell right away which journalists ask the basic repeated fluff questions because they need to put out on the article ASAP, and which journalists actually want something new for this. Exactly. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Wolbojog says, I've seen this with Arteta and Pep and Klopp a lot, and for Arsenal, I know which reporters that actually have a good understanding of the game and the tactical level understanding of the game and ask insightful questions. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And I don't think Louise Taylor claims to be any football expert or anything. She sounds like someone that really tries to learn the game. She tries her best, but at least she tries. Like the journalists that we've got, man, jeez, Louise. Anyway, so I thought it was a very interesting question. I thought it was a very encouraging answer as well. in terms of being able to handle. Okay, you're doing this intensity style. We need to be able to control the possession, or to control, or at least find ways to control the game. And he's agreeing with her he's agreeing with her, and he's saying you have to adjust according to the team that you're playing against. What are their strengths? Excuse me. What are their weaknesses, and how can we capitalize on them with our strengths? So there's something in there, but it's still maintaining what his ambition, what his principles are within it. The next question is about the ambition of the club. What are his goals? I think Craig Hope asks this, and I thought it was important to talk about, because obviously we want to know, or certainly the journalists wanted to know, what is your directive? What have they asked of you? What are you here, for this season? What's the ambition for this season? I don't know if I got it exactly where I want, but let's see if we can get it from here.
Most important thing, also why I decided to come here. But this will not happen overnight.
Yeah, I think you'll see. Here we go.
Is it simply keeping the team in the division in
Here we go.
European qualification?
So here's Craig Hope. He's talking about, what's the ambition for this year? What are the owners asking to do?
That didn't happen. Have you been told European qualification is a must, or given?
So Eddie Howe, he had to get Europe. He failed to get Europe. What's been asked of you?
In the period of transition, is it simply keeping the team in the division and consolidating and building on something? What have you been told?
Yeah, that we are ambitious. That's the most important thing. Also why I decided to come here. But this will not happen overnight, especially when you have such a big transition phase now.
Okay, so we've got to be ambitious, but we've also got to acknowledge that we're going through a transition as well.
Then you need to have a clear goal, a clear vision where we want to go to, and that starts from the decision makers up in front, from the management, from the board. And then again, what I said already, if you have that synergy with the fans, with the players, with the staff, everyone included, to go there, then again, I'm pretty sure it will be.
Now it's about to get some, not pushback, but a little bit more. I think Craig Hope is trying to get further clarification on that, and his response, Jaissle's response is also interesting.
Successful story, but we need time now, and we can only do our best day by day, breaking it down with a goal long ahead.
This is the interesting part, because this is the first time that he's talked like this, where he's saying we can only and he said this in his first interview. We can only control what we can. We have to break it down. We have to be able to manage it day by day, and then before we reach our goal. He said this repeatedly, and that's how his mind works, and that's how his team works. That's that German efficiency, shall we say? And he's very, very clear about that. Right? This is how he works, folks. Like, this is him. The fact that I've seen him repeat this type of lie before in different way. I know that's within him. That's how he is. That's how he approaches things, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, but we need to cut it down. What is the most important thing today? What is the most important thing?
So it's prioritizing. What's the most important thing today? What's the most important thing tomorrow? It's prioritizing.
Tomorrow. And if we have that approach, I'm really optimistic that we.
And that's allowing to yourself to kind of break it down day by day, prioritizing day by day. Each you get closer to the goal that you're doing. That's his approach. Whether some people like it or not, that's Mr. Jaissle.
In the right direction.
Can you just ask what that goal is?
Okay, so he says that's direction. Now Craig Hope's about to has just said, "Can I just ask what that goal is?" I'm going to play that back a little bit, because I've got a couple of things I want to say about that.
Can you just ask what that goal is? The long-term goal.
Again, what I said, ambitious. On that way, it's something you cannot plan in football. I'm long enough now in that industry that you can't not promise anything, and it makes no sense to promise you now anything, because
which is wise, right? What Craig Hope is asking for is certainty. What's the goal? Tell me the goal. So then, if you don't reach that goal, we're gonna we're going to tell you whether you succeeded or failed. Which on the one hand, you can see people say, you can, whether agree or disagree, is fair. You held people accountable. How Jaissle sees it is, I'm not making you any promises. I cannot, for me to just say, yeah, he looks at, if I'm telling you the goal, I'm giving you a promise that might not happen essentially. But what I'm showing you is that what I can control is the process, the controllables and the process I have in which to make this into hopefully making this goal a reality, which I think is fair to say, because the guys entered the season, and he says this later on. He says this part later on. He goes, when they said, "Are you excited about being signed?" And he says, I wish they signed me, or I wish I came here from the beginning. And he said, before we made, and people, I can't believe you didn't talk about it, because he said, before we made any signings, he said, before we made any signings. So that tells me, again, reading between the lines, Mr. Jaissle, not necessarily that he's looking at some of the signings and thinking, geez, the ways he's awful. But he has his style and he has his principles. We're going to be talking a little bit later on about scouting profile. Scouting profile for Mr. Dedic, who is a player who's played. See, my wife is so wonderful. She got my hat for me. Who is a former Jaissle player, right? And we're actually being linked to other wonderful I was going to say wonderful wife, wonderful players in the likes of Mr. Syward and all those other people as well. He wants to bring his men. You have to understand, he's coming to an uncertain situation. A manager has left halfway through pre-season. The whole ethos of the club has changed. The vision of the club has changed. Yes, it's a change in the line in a way that Mr. Jaissle understands, but it's changed. Big names have left. Your captain has left. Your top scorer has left. One of your top midfield generals has left. We're holding on to Mr. Hall, right? There's a lot going on here. So for anyone to say, what's your goal, and hold that goal and how he sees it as a promise, if he says, yes, Europe is the goal, and he knows that he doesn't know, he knows he can't guarantee that, I can understand why he responds like this.
Because I don't know how the things look in half a year or in 1 year. What we can control, we will control. And that's what I just described. Cutting the things down, the task on a daily basis, doing the best job. And then we go
That is his thing. He says it again. All I can do is the things I control, which is cutting down things, doing things guys, this is his thing. Just getting this is his thing. Organized, priority, controlling the controllables, focusing on that process. This is his thing. You cannot guarantee the results, especially in this kind of sea of uncertainty and change. So I think is really, really interesting, this type of exchange. Let me know what you guys think about it. Do some of you guys relate to almost what Mr. Craig Hope is saying? Look, come on, give me some goals, give me some, clear kind of expectancies. What can we expect from you? Do you think it's fair? Do you think he should? What is it? Or do you kind of see it from what Jaissle is saying, I can't control the outcomes. I don't know what's going to happen 6 months to a year from now. There's a lot of change here. I wish they signed me at the beginning of the season, before they made any signings. Right? I wish they got me here before they made any signings. That's revealing to me. So he's controlling the controllables, he's taking it day by day. All right, so let me see what you guys are saying. Robo Jog says journalists like her actually make it easier for the fans to see what their manager is trying to do. Exactly. Louis Taylor, an achiever of the squad he has, in my opinion, an informed fan base is a very forgiving and I agree. In a very forgiving and patient fan base. There's a lot more, I don't know if grace is the right word. Maybe you're right, your word is the better one, forgiving. Gogson, God bless you, good to see. Says by and large, German managers have been successful in the Premier League or others. Yes, or the, I assume, other leagues as well. Yeah. So I'm just saying, as we're learning about a manager, he's for me, he's very consistent in the mindset that he's given. So my expectations are, sorry, I say my expectations. That whole analogy of you can't, complain about a fish that doesn't walk, like, or that can't ride a bike type of thing, right? This is how he works. If you want him to sell you a dream, you've got the wrong manager. Let me see if anybody's here. Any more comments? Bobby says, sounds like a man who knows he's been handed a team of kids. Possibly. That could be another thing he's saying. The guy said, he said it. It still baffles me that I haven't seen one Newcastle journalist talk about this. That was the key. That when it's like I was eating before I came on the show because this is important for me to eat before I go on shows. And when I was listening to the interview, and I already got the show prepped. I want to talk about David Hopkinson and the vision. Then I heard him say this. Jaissle say this, and I'm like, I can't ignore this. The guy said, "I wish they signed me. I wish I was here before they made their first signings." I was like, "Oh my word, what's he saying to them in the background?" So I expect some transfers. I expect some from the RB's Leipzig RB model. I expect some former players to come in. Gordon Bennett says Bruno is a fair game when we play Arsenal. If he gets the chance to score, he won't take it easy on us, and settling could be an advantage. Oh, okay, you're talking about Bruno. Okay. So we'll do one more Votamada, and then we'll do the Mr. Dedić. Do I have time to do Dedić? I'm gonna do. I'll do Dedić. I'll do Dedić. He looks like when we say he looks like he's coming nowadays for Newcastle United, it's like they literally have to be holding up the kit because we just don't know. So he talks to about Voldemort. I want to get you guys. I'm not going to say anything about what my impression is about what he says about Voldemort. I'm going to say at the end. I want to get you guys' impression of what you think. Hopefully, I got the right place. What he says about Voldemort.
Not only with Nick, with all.
Okay, so I need to go back a little bit further.
Does he fit your style of play?
Okay, here we go. Does he fit your style of play? My answer is no, but let's see what he says.
But we still have time.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right, so next question coming.
Hello, Matthias. Welcome to Newcastle. Nick Voldemort had a mid-season, his first season at Newcastle. I'm just wondering what your plan is to get the best out of him. Does he fit your style of play?
Yeah, I saw that, of course, also that he had a difficult period. And from the first day, we talked a lot.
Yeah, I noticed he had a bad time as well. I see that he had a bad time. So now we've followed up with a conversation. We've had a long conversation.
He should leave the past behind because it's something he cannot change. We're just looking forward.
Which is very good. That's good life advice. You cannot change what's happened yesterday. You can't change what happened before. Leave it there, right? Don't let it hang up on your mind. Move forward.
We find solutions. We do the best, not only with Nick, with all the other players as well, to improve.
Well, this is I have to remind. What's he saying here? What is he saying here? We find solutions, not just with Nick, but with other players. Let, let's let's hear this.
something you cannot change. We're just looking forward. We find solutions. We do the best, not only with Nick, with all the other players as well, to improve them, to find positions where they feel comfortable.
To find positions where they feel comfortable. This is the to be continued type of story.
To work with the principles in our idea how we want to play football, and then there's the
To work with the principles of how. Remember, forget this. He obviously with his the formation thing is like Bruce Lee says, like water, it can go anywhere with Mr. Jaissle, right? But he has the principles. Can Voldemort fulfill those principles?
development to see. I'm really optimistic, but that counts not only for Nick, also for the other players.
So he's very careful not to lay this thing at Nick Voldemort, right? He's saying this is for everybody, but it's the question's about Nick Voldemort. He knows, but he's careful. The fact that he's careful not to lay it on Nick Voldemort, to me, it shows. I was going to say it's a sensitive time, but maybe it's a sensitive area. I don't think that they've come to a solution yet. I don't think they've come to a solution yet. He's talking about solutions on the pitch. I wonder if there's also solutions off the pitch. But let me see what you guys are saying. James says, I think it was because I know it was, but the way. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that. It's a different conversation. Sorry about that. Ian says, I think he handled his first conference with aplomb. He was charming at times, serious at times, and he seems highly intelligent young man. I agree. Sorry, that's not towards me. James says, didn't you realize Craig Howe said this, and he's the one with the age agenda against him? Does he? I didn't hear what Craig Howe said about the age agenda. What did Craig say? What did Craig Howe say about his age? Pro Club says, Philip, for me this season's not. Excuse me. Philip, for me this season nothing is bigger than winning the derby under Jaissle. He will be determined to win the derby, and it will be the most important game for us. It's going to be blood and thunder. This will be blood and thunder. When we were expecting it last year, we didn't get it last year. This one's going to be blood and thunder. This derby will be blood and thunder. Everybody will get what they want from this derby. I agree. Gordon Bennett says it's make or break for Baltimore this season. Need to be stronger on the board. Needs a more assertive personality. You're right. There's a. Have you guys watched Gordon? Not Gordon. Have you guys watched Games of Thrones when I forgot what the name of that guy is, but it's a Targaryen, and he tells Jon Snow, "Kill the boy." He ends up killing the boy, but what he's talking about is, you have to kill the young child inside of you and become a man, essentially. Voldemort, arise and become a man. The Premier League, either forces it out of you, or you just continue to shrink into yourself and you remain a child. It's that deep. It's that deep for Voldemort. You're gonna have to be a man. Like there's no way around it, my brother. Whether they put you in an 8, in the 10, we can't hide you anywhere on the pitch, my brother. We're not going to put you in goal. That would be insane. Arise, Sir Voldemort, essentially. Gordon Bennett says, you never know, but I think he'd get rattled. Oh, no, I meant James says, no, I meant to say the agenda against him, but decides to add age. I have to catch up on what Craig said about him. That's interesting, though. That is interesting. All right. So overall, in conclusion, I do agree. And Ian McKenna, others have said it. It was a very, very good press conference. I do find Jaissle as a straightforward. He's a straight shooter, as a straight shooter as he can be. I think also in the way where he's protective over it. He is protective in the right way over his players, like he handled the Voldemort situation. if you saw how he stepped into the press conference, very, very like he's a very charming, very straight, very confident. I'm beginning to get a taste for his mindset, how he is. Like he said, he's here to control the controllables, break things down day by day, prioritize what's important today, and then and then move on to the next day. Prioritize what's important on that day, and keep on doing that, till you reach your goal. So it's very process orientated, right? So you're when this is why it's important for us to keep this in mind now, because when the season kicks off and God forbid, there might be results aren't going our way. I don't think he's necessarily going to panic too much about the results. What he's going to be looking at is that process of the team. Are his principles being seen on the pitch? He will adapt. He'll be flexible, but like he said, he's going to control the controllables. And right now, what he can control, and I think he's going to try his best to control, is that transfer window. I'm not sure he's entirely satisfied with the players that he's got now. The guy said, "I wish they got me here before they made their first signing." Who's our first? Joanne? Was it Joanne? Who's our first signing? Right? So this is going to be a very interesting window. I think he's going to want his own people and players that he knows and trusts to be able to implement the things that he wants on the pitch. And speaking of that player, we're going to talk about Mr. Arma Dedić, who's been linked to us today via let's see, first of all, via Fabrizio. Well, it was first of all, I want to credit Sam C. Let me get this first. Sam C. Before it was followed up by Fabrizio Romano. Where is it? Sam C. Here we go. Here we go. So let me share this. And then we'll go into a scouting report. Okay, so he says, I wonder how Sam C got this, because it didn't come from a Newcastle journalist or a foreign journalist. Oh, did it start off as a foreign journalist? Let me know, guys. But Sam C is a Man United. I don't know what to call him. I think he was previously at the United stand. Now I think he's like a transfer guy. Or that's not all that he does. But I know he's a Man United fan, obviously. Which is it's interesting that he got this information. Like it was him that leaked it. I don't know what to make of it. So anyway, he says, excuse me. He says, exclusive, understand Benfica right back, Arma Dedić is attracting interest from Newcastle United. The 23-year-old is on the radar as they assess defensive options ahead of a new season. We don't have a right back. Tino's injured. Dedić previously worked under current Newcastle boss Matthias Jaissle at RB Salzburg. Going back to what the Jaissle said, I wish they signed me before their first signing. And then obviously quote tweets Fabrizio Romano, who follows up on this a couple of hours later and says it's also been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. So the major outlets, the big outlets are talking about it. So let's talk about him. Let's talk about what he's about. It's quite a big scouting report. I'm thinking, when am I going to get? I'll cover as much as I'll cover, obviously, but I'm like, geez, I want to talk about that Hopkins vision is big. So it's important to be able to talk about it in detail. But we have the news that we have. Where is he? Where did I just take it off? Where is it? It was a really good scouting report that was done by a gentleman. Here we go. Woberjog says, Phil, wouldn't a move for a 1 year loan could be the best and cheapest way for a 10 or odd or right wing or a right side attacking midfielder with some experience? Obviously, I'd want him to stay and help us. Yeah, we've been linked to him before, and I did a scouting report on him as well. I think it'd be a great move. We wouldn't take loans like that, though. And I don't think rivals are giving us loans either. We haven't loaned a player from the Premier League since the takeover. It would have to be payment. It would have to be a permanent move. So, but yeah, I'll be all for it. I'll be all for it. Okay, so Mr. Omar Dedić, former Salzburg player under Jaissle. So he's 20. First of all, the report I'm looking at is when Dedić was playing at Marseille. Okay, so let me first give you, which was last year, and then he's gone to Benfica. So let me give you his background first, because at Marseille he didn't have his greatest time, but this is the most extensive report, and it's quite a good report, and it's probably still good to have this type of report. So we get to what's the word I'm looking for? There's not fluff. There's no sugarcoating, right? But first of all, let me get this background on him. What did I want to say? He's 23. So he's 23 years old. He's a dynamic, tactically versatile two-way fullback, known for strong position discipline, high work rate. He's currently at Benfica. Where is it? He's currently at Benfica. Let me show you this. So he's currently at Benfica. Where is it? He's currently at Benfica. Let's get this. 23 career. So he has been at Benfica. So he's had an interesting one. So he was in Salzburg 22, 23, 24 season. So he spent a year with Mr. Jaissle. Played a lot of minutes there, 3,000, 2,000 minutes. Before then going on loan, looks like, to Marseille, which he played the least amount of minutes. Still got 6 assists there while he was there, but I'm hearing it wasn't the greatest of time. I don't know why. Before then, a permanent move to Benfica. And this year, this is in the league, right? This is just the league, not the Europe or anything. I'll look at the Europe in a moment. In the league, he's played, obviously, looks like all 38 games, 3,000 minutes, 1 goal, 4 assists. Really, really good in terms of contributions. He played, I'm sure he played in Europe. I'm sure he played in the Champions League. There's all competitions. Okay, this is all competitions. I thought he played in Europe as well. I saw he played in Champions League. So this is his heat map. Let me see if he played anything. Very much on that right-hand side, holding the flank, not inverting too much. That's how he was set up there. Let me see how he played under Jaissle. In that 22-23 season. Quite similar, but then you also see him here. He would have been picking up the ball, responsible for spraying the ball around, I assume, as well. That's interesting. That is interesting. Okay, so let's get to it. So then he went to Marseille. Like I said, he didn't have the greatest of time, but this is where the scouting report is taken from the time and when he was at Marseille. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, cool. Take this off. All right, so credit to Bosniako. I'm assuming that he's Bosnian. He does scouting reports on Bosnian players. So he's covering Amar last year when he was 22 years old at Marseille. So it's a scouting report on Olympique de Marseille's new signing, the future Bosnian star Arma Dedić. In this thread, using video material, I will present his strengths, points to improve tendencies, mentality, and more. So very, very, very thorough report. Oh, let's hear what it's all about. Okay, so make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, you can. Okay, so he says position. So Amar Dedić is a modern fullback who brings value both offensively and defensively. By nature, he's an attacking fullback, often playing as a wing back for the national team, where his main strengths can be utilized. He has also played on the left side multiple times, which isn't his strongest role, so keep that in mind, although he can still be a threat there by cutting inside. More on this later, he puts in the brackets. He has also been used as a CB, such as the Champions League against PSG. Not ideal, but can operate as a wide RCB, especially in matches where his team controls the game. So as a left back, right back, RCB, he can play, though his best position is right back. Build up, so his build. Sorry, 1 meter 80, athletic build. His physical profile is interesting. Got powerful legs that provide him with running power and make him stronger in contact or duels. Top speed, acceleration. He hit top speed of 33.5 kilometers in the Champions League campaign. Though it's a small sample size, I believe he can reach higher above 34, which is above average. He doesn't quite match the fastest fullbacks in Europe, keep that in mind, but he does have other athletic advantages. Quite rapid over longer distances, solid over the first meters. So it's not exactly like a 0 to 100 real quick type of player. It goes on to say in the final third, and this you can see this him. This is some good video analysis. You saw a cat. Dedic is a constant threat. Both under and overlaps are present in his game. He's more of a player who looks for short combinations, often cutting inside into the chaos. Without what makes him a constant threat is mentality to keep trying. He is a trier. In terms of crosses, he often has good ideas, but his consistency and execution can improve. He's not a crossing specialist, at least not yet, but he has the tools to become one. However, in terms of tendencies, he's currently more of a player who prefers to take on, and he often delivers good ones. So that's a big thing about him. So better at the cutbacks rather than the crosses, better than the 1v1s, underlaps, overlaps. So it's going to be interesting how that happens with Elanga. I think if he does the underlaps and allows Elanga to go out right wide, that'll be very helpful to Elanga. But also, if he goes and does the overlaps and allows Elanga to go on the underlaps, that might be something that might help as well. I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen Elanga enough to see how he does cutting in, but this defender, this fullback, loves cutting in. So it's going to be interesting how that dynamic works. Or do you put Tory on that side, who I think looked quite comfortable on the inside, and he's naturally left-footed, who can cut in as well. Whilst Dedic is doing the overlaps, then you can have Tory on the left side. But then we've seen Tory on the left side looking very, very good. Anyway, end product. As a continuation of his final third production, his end product, goals and assists. So 24-25 season, 6 assists in 25. 23-24, 5 goals, 5 assists, which is really, really, really good. And then you can see how there's 3 goals, 4 assists the year before, 3 goals in the previous season, 3 assists in the previous season. So decent contributions there. On the left side, so it's rare, but Dedic occasionally is using the left, which could also happen under De Zerbi. So obviously De Zerbi was the guy managing him. Rotating with Merlin or Enrique. He's played... Oops, sorry. He's playing both left back and a left wing back. Defensively, he does reasonably well on that side. Offensively, he's easier to nullify. Still, he can be a threat at times. He often tries to cut inside and make overlaps and attempts long shots with his right foot. even though his left foot, he regularly delivers good cutbacks. Against Brest, he played as a left back in the Champions League, where he recorded an XG of 0.21 and 0.28. So he had 3 key passes, 3 shots, and complete 5 out of 5 dribbles. That's not bad. He's still relatively effective as a dribbler, as a carrier, as a guy in the cutbacks. Dribbling. So dribbling, as mentioned earlier, Dedić is a player who often looks to take for take-ons. In the Champions League, he has 18 successful ones in this season, making him the only defender in the top 10 on par with Basinius Jr. Interesting. Manipulates very well via body feints and quick footwork, creative with his trickery at times. He's also a strong carrier, quick short strides, great close ball control, and once he gets going over long distances, he picks up good speed, which is a good trait to have. One downside is that he sometimes dribbles himself into risky areas, like centrally, risking turnovers. He also needs to understand or feel when to release the ball faster. And with the intensity of the Premier League, where you have to make snap decisions very, very quickly, or even sometimes plan ahead, I don't know if that would favor him or be a drawback, but it's one to keep an eye on. Okay, so, under pressure. Dedić is very confident on the ball, especially in the second and third phases, so in the middle of the pitch and the final third of the pitch. In the build-up, there are still some small areas to improve, although he's already composed and reliable. He prefers to carry out of pressure using quick footwork once again and to progress the play. So you can see why Jaissle really, really likes him. He's got some really similar traits to Tino as well, Tino Livramento. Excuse me, ambidexterity. So both feet. As you've probably noticed in the past videos, although he's not perfectly two-footed, his left foot is of high quality. Scored some goals with his left foot, and they were quite impressive. Mid-range passing, the same thing. He doesn't particularly like crossing with his left foot, but he does deliver a few cutbacks. His first touch, technical consistency, and so on are all solid with his weaker foot, which is pretty good. Makes it harder to press him too, a tool he can or should use even more often. Defensive one-on-ones, which is going to be important in the Premier League. Says the defensive one-on-ones. The defensive one-on-one is a point to improve. The basics are fine, eyes on the ball, on toes, and correct body positioning. But there's some nonchalance or lack of concentration that will pay him dearly in the Premier League. He's often too passive outside the box, allowing wingers to cross without pressure. He still needs to learn when to be patient, when to be aggressive or proactive when defending. A positive is that he decelerates smoothly. So if he's up against the winger that stop and starts, you can keep up with him. You can be the same stride. Another area where he struggles is when players quickly and sharply cut inside. So inverted wingers. Attackers sometimes create too much separation, which allows them to shoot, defending to the outside, which is how actually Valencia scored their goal against us, which was against Voltemada. Though he does almost flawlessly, defending outside, though he does almost flawlessly. So hold on, which allows him to shoot flawlessly. He's definitely agile, so with the right coach, he can fix those flaws. He often corrects it with his quick feet and athleticism, but at a higher level that gets more difficult, as we saw against Barcola and Vinicius, where he struggled. The video shows some good examples that there is potential, although it is still something to work on. Recovery pace. Dedić has great stamina, engine, and pace over large distances. It's hard to beat him purely on speed. An area for improvement is his positioning in defensive transition. Again, it'll be a killer in the Premier League if he doesn't get this right. He can be caught out of position at times, but he has the athletic ability to correct it. He has to. I hope he's improved that. It will cost us dearly in the league, and it's going to be a lot of these things with the young players that we've got. Not all of them are going to be perfect. Okay, area ability. Overall, he has good jumping technique with a solid leap, enough aggression. His numbers are decent, around 50%, which is acceptable for a fullback. I agree. I keep getting the sound on, which is annoying. Okay. Counter pressing. As a project of the Red Bull organization under Jaissle, he's learnt the foundations of counter pressing from a young age. He's reactive, impulsive, combative, and aggressive, which comes with both advantages and disadvantages. We'll talk about this a little bit later. So this is why Jaissle wants him. He wants him because he plays in that Red Bull model. It says points to improve. So defensive one-on-ones. Okay, let me drink my water. Okay, so he says points to improve. Defensive one-on-ones. Mentioned earlier, key points. It's not necessarily a biomechanical issue, but more of being unprepared or not being able to read the next touch action when defending one-on-ones, a body language issue. He's in a good league now, which is the French league at the time. Now to refine this, a league with plenty of transitions. It didn't work out for him, which is, we have to keep a note of that. Fast technical wingers who will test him, and overall physically challenging environment in the Austrian league. He was hardly tested defensively, if at all. Defensive discipline. The cause likely stemmed from the Red Bull Academy, where he was taught to defend in a proactive and aggressive manner. Now it's about what's tactically required. However, in the national team and Champions League, where he needs to defend in a deeper block, there are moments when his impulsive instincts cause him to position himself poorly, leaving to gaps open or losing track of wingers. He has the temperament to press high on the pitch, even when it's not necessarily a collectively not required. So a little bit too ambitious in the press. Mentality: a humble, loyal guy, but ambitious and hard working on the pitch. He won't let the team down, which is important. Newcastle fans will appreciate that. On the contrary, he was a captain at Salzburg. He was a captain at Salzburg, was he? Okay. For a while at 22, and for a good reason. He tries to be a leader, mainly through actions rather than words at this moment, which is important for a team in transition at Newcastle. He doesn't let his head drop easily, goes into duels with full commitment, and doesn't hold back. He's a professional both on and off the pitch, not the type to complain. I like that. Right-hand side dynamism. RDZ is building a competitive team, and Mason Greenwood was a major signing on who is genuinely a top player. Greenwood is the starting right wing, so he would need to dominate the right side alongside Dedić. He's also an intense direct player with a good feeling for combinations, a player who creates space with movement and runs, a 2-foot threat with attacks both inside and outside, which will give Dedić an opportunity to be dynamic when attacking. On our right side, we're going to have Elanga or Toure, maybe even Barnes at times. So those combinations are going to be interesting. Projection. So Marseille is a great realistic step. It's an interesting project under Roberto De Zerbi, who is, of course, an extremely good coach in possession, where Dedić will learn a lot. Although I believe he will eventually see him in the Premier League. He's on his way. Or simply at the best clubs in the world during his prime or just before it. He will likely stay at Marseille long enough. He didn't, since they've just started their project. Next season, Champions League football, and hopefully soon competing with PSG for a title. He has big hopes for Dedić. This scout report. I believe Arma will like the beautiful city, phenomenal fan base, project, and culture. Once he makes more progressive, refines his flaws, and adds more experience, he has the potential to become a top 10 right back in the world. That is really, really interesting. I like this type of reports because it's a very, very thorough report. You can, good, bad, and uglies in this, right? But overall, the projections are very, very, very good. Let me see. How did he do at Marseille? Just Googling it in. What do they say about it? Let me know what your thoughts on him. I'm just trying to get some final information about what they made of his time. What do they say? So it says that he joined for 1.5 million loan fee. Early promise, impressed fans early in the energy and spectacular assist for Rabiot. There was hurdles. De Zerbi publicly noted that Dedić struggled to adapt quickly to his system, which was vastly different from the Salzburg style. Okay. And then he fell short. He fell short of the 50% playtime threshold needed for a permanent contract. Hence why he went back, or he went to Benfica. That's fine. If that was the problem, Jaissle saying, my friend, forget De Zerbi and Marseille and all this possession football. Come to some rock and roll here at Newcastle United, where hopefully we'll see the best of Dedić. So I think he'll be a good fit. I think he'll be a very, very good fit from what this report is saying. But let me know what you guys think. I'll be really, really keen to get your views on this. Okay, let me find myself here. He even came up in against Gordon, a 3-0 win in the champ. Oh, was he playing for Benfica? I forgot him. Well spotted, pro clubs. Well remembered. I can't remember him now. We massacred them. Adrian says, get Dedić and Suaraz in ASAP. You like Suaraz? Let me know if you know how much you know about him. Sell Sulla, Willock. Oh, I can't sell Sulla, man. I can't do it. Willock, J7, Hall and Murph, Hall, and get another right wing. What? What's happened here? Is this really Adrian or someone taking Adrian's account? Ian says there are people who think the entire world is built around London. It's actually something of a whole, unless you're a millionaire. Ian McKenna says there is a lot more to London than Central, and most of it is awful. What's happened here? Don't tell me somebody else has gone to London as well. You guys really don't rate London. Why is everyone talking about cities all of a sudden? What's happened here? I must have missed something. So for me, Dedić makes a lot of sense. He came up under Jaissle, came under the RB. It's cool, Hojberg. It came under the what you call it, the RB, like the RB model and philosophy, which is Jaissle's model and philosophy. He should technically fit like a glove in Jaissle's system here, and no wonder he's looking forward to it as well, because he'll know what's expected of him. He'll know what he's good at, what he's not. It'll be an exciting project for him. Obviously, playing in the Premier League, it's an exciting project for me. Kind of listening to him. And I think that I'm all for it. I'm all for this signing. I am all for this signing. Okay. So that's Mr. Dedić. Let me know if you guys have any more thoughts on him. Hopefully it gets done and we've got more to celebrate. We've got more to talk about. Okay. I want to talk about the main crux of our show today, which is this article that was written via George Colkin on The Athletic. I encourage you guys to go and read it yourself. It's a long article, but it's very, if you want to know, if you're a reader or you want to know and it's important to you what's going on with Newcastle United, what's the vision and how that vision is, how they're looking to complete this vision, I encourage you to read it. But I have done you a favor, myself a favor, and I have broken down the article a little bit into some key points, some key areas that I wanted to discuss with you guys. And I want you guys to comment on this. I want you guys to let me know what your thoughts and feelings. I forgot to ask, by the way. I don't have to usually because you guys are pretty good with this and getting better. Please do continue to like, share, and subscribe. I'm just looking out because I have a funny feeling. I just have a feeling that I just have a feeling. Sorry, I just had a feeling that we would have a bomber. Sorry, guys. I thought there was a bomber. I'm not going to get distracted. Okay, so it's important. The vision for the club and how this vision is going to be achieved, right? So I used the old AI, read through it, had my ideas as well in terms of big kind of thoughts around everything that was said. You guys have never heard my analogy before even reading this article about the cart before the horse, where we built a first team, a Champions League team on the pitch, but off the pitch, we weren't ready to sustain that model and it cost us in the end. Although during that journey, we still were able to get, a trophy, we were able to get Champions League and all these type of things. And in this article, I think in different ways, Mr. Hopkins talks about that. So let's get into it. Right. So at the beginning of the article and throughout the article, Hopkins talks about how Newcastle's journey is all about getting the order right. This is the cart before the horse analogy I was talking to you guys about, right? So cart before the horse, which is quick success but unsustainable, built on debt and pressure and instability, all the PSR stuff, almost selling Gordon to Liverpool, then having to sell Elliot Anderson and Nkrumah Minte, versus the horse before the cart, which is the goal. The goal is build the foundation first, then the success becomes sustainable, right? That's why I kind of get it what Mr. What's his name? Jaissle was saying that, when they're talking about what's the goal? Is Europe the goal? Don't worry about it. There's no derailment. Do your thing. But let me know if you guys how you have heard about Dedić or anything else. Would you guys be for him or not? But also, yeah, let me know what you guys think of this stuff. So build the foundation first, then the success becomes sustainable. That's why I don't think they said to Jaissle, get Europe or else. Stay in the league for sure, but I don't think it's get Europe or else, although I like that kind of thing. I think they're trying to build a foundation. So we're going to be breaking down the Hopkinson interview and how this analogy, kind of the cart before the horse or the horse before the cart, is kind of threaded throughout the whole thing, throughout the whole kind of article itself, essentially. So, and it talks about Newcastle 2.0. Because I was thinking when I was seeing it online, Newcastle 2.0, I thought it was just somebody, online invented it, but no, Hopkinson is the one that is big on this Newcastle 2.0 concept and idea. Very, very big on it. So part one, why Eddie Howe left. You want to acknowledge, obviously, the elephant in the room, and that's Eddie Howe leaving. Jaissle wishes he left earlier before the first signing, but it didn't work out like that. So a new cycle, a new challenge, a new leader. So Hopkinson described Eddie as the leader and architect of 1.0, and this is of Newcastle 1.0. And what Hopkinson did say, he says, ultimately, it had become clear to both parties that a change was required. Eddie had given everything he possibly could to us. I agree. Pneumonia, dealing with the transfer windows when you've got sporting directors leaving before the transfer window opens, or you've got sporting directors getting tapped by rival clubs whilst having access to our scouting reports, all that crazy stuff. But Newcastle 2.0 needed a level of energy, demand, and commitment that he was no longer able to deliver. The vision changed. There's young players. There's literally a whole rebuild, and maybe after 5 years of doing all of this and facing all the pressures and time and everything else, Eddie Howe's a millionaire. he's had pneumonia, nearly killed himself doing this job. He had to think twice what this means. So Howe completed the job of Newcastle 1.0, and this is Hopkinson's language. The next phase requires another rebuild. Newcastle 2.0 needs a different kind of energy to start a new youth-led cycle, which is again Hopkinson's language. Jaissle, 38, represents the start of that cycle, a coach who can grow the club and the squad. Right? So this is the idea. This is the idea of rebuilding that foundation of the pitch. Newcastle didn't lose faith in Howe. They realized the next version of the project needed a new leader with the energy to build Newcastle 2.0 from the ground up. And I'm gonna do a show a little bit later. I want to compare the squad that Eddie Howe took over from to the squad that Jaissle has taken over from, and I want to get people's thoughts on, essentially, I want to be able to see where we're at and compare the financial situation of the club as well, to see where we've come from and to see where we're going and see what we're how we're developing, if at all. I think we are, to get you guys' thoughts on this. Okay, part 2, ownership commitment. Ownership commitment. Sheesh, I lost my here we go. Ownership commitment. Are PIF still all in? That was the question that Colkin asked. Hopkinson's answer is very, very, very clear on this and very, very emphatic. So, in quote, not only is PIF committed to Newcastle 2.0, they demand it. So he's essentially putting the vision of Newcastle 2.0 as the vision, as the idea, as a demand from the owners themselves. Hopkinson speaks to the owners multiple times a day, which is interesting. They provide time, people, resources, advice, and challenge. Their expectation is simple: build a world-class club that wins on and off the pitch. So that's the vision, guys. Build a world-class club that wins on and off the pitch. What this means: PIF's commitment has not wavered, according to Hopkinson. If anything, the ambition has grown. Newcastle 2.0 is not a retrenchment, which is a word I need to learn. It's the owner's vision for long-term domination, which is interesting. So they do want to be in the place where they can win trophies and be in the Champions League often, as frequently as possible. So structure, stability, and patience are now the foundation. The goal is sustainable success and frequent trophies. So Newcastle 1.0, there was rapid investment and rapid impact. Heavy spend, quick spending and success, which got us UCLs and trophy. Cost outgrew the revenue. The UEFA restrictions and financial pressure, and the model hits its ceiling, right? So that was what cost us in the end. Obviously, we've got our thoughts on the whole financial structure. And by the way, this whole thing about, because I always get this stuff about, I had this debate before about Newcastle voted for the SCR. Like, it's not the idea or dream of Newcastle for the SCR. people have a lot. We have governments and parties to vote for, but we've got two-party systems here in England and in America and those type of places. Most of us aren't necessarily happy with all of our governments necessarily, but we vote. It's almost like the best of a bad deal. Hopkinson was I'm not going to say scathing, but he was bewildered by SCR. He just doesn't see how this can be even a winning formula for any kind of club. But he was talking about how you have to adapt and you have to change. So Newcastle 2.0, build to last, designed to dominate. So strong structure and stable leadership. So like I keep on saying, can we please, 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 at least for the next 3 to 5 years, have the same CEO? No, I'm not going to say we've had a very good CEO on Darren Eales, right? And that was more by, just by sickness and, had blood cancer, and God bless him. I think from what people were saying, like though he met with a fan, like he had his course of last treatment, so hopefully that's gone well for him. So it's not so much when I say, can we please have the same CEO? That's not Darren Eales' fault, right? It's obviously that's a different situation compared to our sporting directors who do runners and get tapped up by owners and stuff like that. So we need to have the same sporting directors. We need to have the same sporting directors. We've got a new manager now, obviously. There's a new vision that's been relatively stable. But what I'm asking for is, Mr. Hopkinson, this is the vision that you've put out. You've been here for a year. Can you please stay at least for another 3 or 4 years? And Mr. Ross too, and Mr. Jaissle, who you've taken out of his cushy job in Saudi Arabia. Can we have the three of you here to at least to build on this vision, to be consistent, in the background? That's what we need. Infrastructure and revenue, and there is a conclusion or that's an open question around the infrastructure and revenue, and the building the new stadium and everything else, which I think is very, very important. Young, high upside players with high ceilings, sustainable, which we've seen now in the transfer window, sustainable cost, base and player development, and consistent Europe and frequent trophies. That is the aim. That is the aim. This is what I keep on selling. This whole thing about our Newcastle a selling club, Newcastle a selling club, Newcastle a selling club. Because you've sold players doesn't make you a selling club. I think that's what people don't understand the distinction between. Every club sells players, but a selling club is a selling club whose business plan and main source of revenue is to buy cheap or very young in their development players, raise them, develop them, and to sell them on. That's their main source of revenue. That's their main goal in terms of how to develop a club. Now, over time, if they get continued success on the pitch, they might draw back that model, with higher TV revenue and trophy success and everything else, and begin to develop the first team more and focus on that more and raise wages. But in the meantime, like your Brightons, your Brentfords are very, very focused on buying and selling players, where Newcastle is not a selling club traditionally. And I want to add to this as well. Nearly all clubs, especially the successful clubs, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, do have a trading model, right? So I think we talked about this with Vator Games, with Bobby Fairview, if he's still on here as well. We've been phenomenal in terms of our conversations around buying and selling of players and building academies and using those academies and those areas, and even your multi-club player models and buying and selling trading players. That is part of a trading strategy, but it's not the main business plan, because it's not their main purpose. The main purpose of the club is to win trophies and to improve that first team is how they win those trophies. So they trade players in order to buy and improve the players on the field to win more trophies as part of their trading model, on top of the revenues, on top of the European competitions as well, which is the model that Newcastle are trying to adopt, right? We didn't want to sell Bruno. We didn't want to sell Gordon or Tonali or Elliot Anderson. In hindsight, we should have maybe sold them in drips and drabs, when Liverpool came for Gordon a couple of years ago. At least would have kept Elliot Anderson and Minte and been able to reinvest that money in other areas. But again, maybe those are areas, maybe those are things that the team, that Newcastle owners have looked back upon and said, yeah, we could do better here. Those type of things. Because right now we'd still have Minte, we could still have Eddie Anderson, we could have another £100 million midfielder in our ranks, right? So those are how those type of things work. So this is why that Newcastle are trying to adopt that trading model, or adopt in terms of as part of their revenue system, but are not necessarily a selling club. But let me know what you guys think about that. I don't know if there's been a raid or whatnot, but God bless all the folks that have just come in. I don't know who I should thank for the raid. Let me know who I should thank for the raid, guys. But God bless all the folks that have come in. You're most welcome. Please do continue to like and share and subscribing. Okay. We're just talking about the article George Colkin wrote from his interview with David Hopkinson, and talking about Newcastle's vision and how they looked, Newcastle 2.0, and how they look to achieve that as well. Okay, part 3. So the new model, Newcastle 2.0 explained. So Hopkinson's big plan: get both sides of the club firing together. So that's on the pitch and off the pitch. So the analogy runs through the entire interview. So we can't put the cart before the horse again. So Newcastle 1.0. So cart before the horse. So first team built fast. The club behind it couldn't keep up. PIF investment, expensive players, rapid sporting success, revenues and infrastructure, living beyond our means, and UEFA restrictions. That cost us in the end, although we had some really happy times getting to Champions Leagues and winning a trophy. Now we're putting the horse before the cart. Newcastle 2.0. Build that club, build a team, then build a sustained success, stable leadership, infrastructure and revenue growth, young, high upside recruitment, players of high ceilings and growth potential. Players develop and appreciate, improve on the pitch, increase assets, as well as sustainable success, consistent European football, and frequent trophy challenges. So why this matters? Newcastle 2.0 is about aligning the football operation. Again, this is in relation to Mr. Hopkinson, aligning the football operation and the business operation, so neither outruns the other. This is where that's the key part, where neither the business operation, so the football operation and the business operation are aligned, and neither of them outruns the other. And that's how Newcastle become a club that stay at the top, not just visit it. That's what they're trying to do, right? That's what they're trying to build. Let me know what you guys think so far before we get to the fourth part. But I really encourage you guys to read it and see what the article itself. But hopefully you guys are getting some of the information from here as well. Ian McKenna says, I love Dedić. Me too. Gordon Bennett says, we will get where we want. It's just going to take time. 100%. And I think we still need to fight some of this financial regulation stuff. We have to make it better, to be honest. Ian McKenna says, what I worry is that the fans won't have the patience. Oh, no, absolutely. They won't have the patience. And I already got into a debate with a journalist on X who I felt was he was talking about his opening line, or his framing of his newspaper, of his article on Jaissle was around tight shirts, and he said this literally said tight shirts and tactical boards. But what else does Jaissle have to offer? And I just thought that was such an undercutting comment, like setting up for failure. Why are you talking about another man's tight shirt? Like you're really kind of, it comes across like you're jealous of his appearance. and tactical boards. Like it's it's just for show, like tactical boards. He's just pretending to be a manager type of thing. What else has he got? What else has he got? Like what kind of nonsense attitude is that? So I think the owners, our fans, have to protect him because it is gonna take time. It is absolutely gonna take time. We're gonna see some real highs and lows, real highs and lows of this, guys. I think on the show, I think we definitely understand that. Let me see what else you guys are saying before I move on. Christopher Hoskins, good to see you, sir. God bless you, says Philip. Philip, butting kids is okay, but buying kids is okay, but we have no spine to develop them. We need a 6 or 10 and a new CB because Shaw and Byrne are aging out. I think Shaw and Byrne are aging out, but I think they're good for another year. I agree with you around the spine. I think Botman, I think the new goalkeeper's part of that spine in what's his name? How can I forget his name? Hornycheck. Then you've got Chow and Botman. I think that's why they try to get Hojberg. I think they're going to go somewhere else as well. But I think Miley's got a big role, and Ramsey have got a big role as part of that spine. And then you've got Wissa and Osola. Now, I agree that number 10 is vital in this, absolutely vital. So it's going to be interesting if we get Sukic or that's Lucas Sukic or anybody else. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so hashtag Hojberg rejects. Jeez. Never a foul. Good. God bless you guys. God bless Never a Foul and Kaz and all the crew that's there. Big up to you, all the folks that have come here as well. You guys are phenomenal. Kaz, is it Kaz or Never? Or maybe it probably doesn't matter, does it? Big up to Kaz. Big up to Never a Foul. Big up to all the folks that have here, that have liked, shared, and subscribed. Never a Foul. Ray, God bless you. God bless you. I can't pronounce it. Shantakran. My apologies. I butchered that. God bless the DOB. Jeremy, God bless you guys. Did I see someone else? I thought I saw somebody else. Okay. Mobile Jokes says, Phil, I need your new goalkeeper with the golden gloves. Pretty fitting. I got a good feeling about Hornycheck. Christopher Hookson says, Philip, Dortmund have 5 senior players and kids there. What we are trying to do, so getting their head scout might help, but Dedić we want for RB because Tino back to September. Jeez Louise, that's unbelievable. Big up to my man Andrew Graham. God bless you, sir. All right, so next part 4, right? So the challenge, proof not promises. And this is the key part of all of this, because this whole Newcastle 2.0 stuff sounds great. It sounds a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. Cart before the horse before the cart now, building the foundations for a sustainable club on and off the pitch. But now there needs to be proof. The challenge is that there has to be proof and not promises. So Hopkinson is clear on the plan, but fans want to see it in bricks and mortar. And yes, I am on that bandwagon. I'm certainly beginning to climb on it, where we are heading into that stage, especially now that, Hopkinson has announced this Newcastle 2.0. We've made these major changes. We've made these sales and everything else. And we're talking about how to make this particular Newcastle 2.0 work. We need success off the pitch. Okay, well then we're going to have to start seeing some bricks and mortar. So the journalist key question, as Colkin says, until we see bricks and mortar with the training ground and stadium, people will find it difficult to fully believe the intent of Newcastle 2.0, which is a fair question. And I think it's probably one of the most important ones in this whole thing. So what it must deliver, what Newcastle 2.0 must deliver, and this is when we do start talking about how we hold the owners to account, for the football club. Yes, we're patient. Yes, we're, especially on this channel, we're a bit more thoughtful, a bit more reflective. We try our best to not be reactive, though we are human beings, we are fans. Um, um, but that isn't just for the sake of being patient. That isn't just for the sake of being having grace for the club. We have to hold our owners to account. So, what Newcastle 2.0 must deliver, if it is to work, is this stadium. Either build a new stadium or expand a new one now, and delivery, training ground delivery. I know that there's plans laying down for that, but we need to start seeing the bricks and mortar commercial revenue and growth, which we, to be fair, we have seen. We've seen really, really good growth in the 5 years. We've gone from, what did we go from, like 120s, 100, is it 120, 180, something like that. I've got 180 in my mind. Is it 180, 170 million to what, 320, 350 million? That's phenomenal growth. A recruitment that develops, that's both on and off the pitch, returning to the Champions League consistently, returning to the Champions League and consistently winning trophies. That's what 2.0, that's what the 2.0 they said is going to build. Words build trust, which is what Hopkinson's trying to do, and delivery builds belief. So that's why it's important for fans, for players, for staff, for everybody to start seeing bricks and mortar. For sure. Hopkinson's message is the strategy. Now comes the execution. Supporters aren't asking for overnight miracles. They're asking for visible, tangible progress that proves this time is really different. Now, Hopkinson's reply to Colkin was essentially that that's going to be for another interview, which is okay, fine, fair enough. It was an hour and a half long interview, lots in the article itself, but it's got to happen. There's got to be we've got to hear the part two to what is Newcastle 2.0 from Mr. Hopkinson himself. So Hopkinson has set out a bold and coherent vision for Newcastle 2.0. The plan is clear, in my view. The direction is right, in my view. And then now the works begins, and the proof must follow. Now, even though I myself agree, and I think it's a coherent plan. I think it could work. But the off the pitch stuff, the bricks and mortar, the building of the new training ground, the building of the stadium or expand the stadium, we have to start seeing the realities of that, for sure. In my opinion, I'm really keen to get what you guys thoughts on this are. So look, that's what it was all about. That's what the whole kind of thing was about. Newcastle, going from Newcastle 1.0, Newcastle 2.0 is the reset, the rebuild. Bigger than the club, bigger than we're bigger than the club. It's bigger than the club itself. It's the stronger the foundation, the more sustainable the future is what they're trying to build. We go from Newcastle 1.0, which is expensive transfers, quick on the pitch success, club infrastructure couldn't keep up, grew revenues, but not enough. UEFA restrictions and all of that. Now the horse is sustainable leadership, consistent CEO, manager, SD, and all of that. Then young, hungry players and infrastructure growth, a sustainable cost base. Frequent trophies or consistent trophies, a consistent European League. And that's where we're heading at. It's the same ambition, a stronger way forward, more Europe, more trophies, and a stronger club, essentially. We're trying to build a lasting legacy. But like I said, the words build trust, the delivery is what's going to build the belief. And I think that's what it comes down to. So lots to look forward to in terms of what they're planning. But I honestly believe that, in order for people to really begin to, and not just people, not just fans, but players, right? I think players themselves, even, the Isak and people aren't going to want to hear this, but Isak and the others have been saying, where's this training ground that we've been promised before we sign? Which didn't happen. So we don't want these young players to begin to ask. It's good to hear Jaissle said, I really like the training facilities here. But we need to build on that. Okay. Andrew says we will never catch the Cartel 6 without a new ground. There's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot of truth in that. It takes what I'm hoping for, secretly hoping for, well, not so secretly, is that stadiums take time to build. I'm just hoping that within that time we at least get closer. We at least get closer for sure. What's on the BBC? I've missed that, Ian. Let me know what's on the BBC. Andrew says, I honestly now believe that phase one of the plan was to fully establish as a Premier League team and win that first trophy. Yeah, that was the outcomes for sure. I think they thought, and they were close. We were close, had we, not made certain mistakes in certain areas, transfers and everything else, and had, our transfer window last year gone better, our sporting director stayed, for instance, and got a certain deals over the line, our league position would have looked very, very different, and our future would look very, very different. But the way we were operating, we left ourselves very little margin for error. James says, so he's suggesting by this point stadium upgrades or replacement, but I haven't seen anything in this suggesting anything earlier about a new training ground. Yes, so you have to read the article fully in that. They do talk about the training ground. I don't think it was extensively, but that's definitely something that's in the pipeline. In fact, let me just double check some, because I feel like we've actually talked about the new training ground. We talked about some news on the new training ground itself. So I'm trying to remember where the whole plan was at. What stage is Newcastle's new training grounds? Question mark. Newcastle's pursuit of a new training state-of-the-art ground. It's finalized. Is currently on the finalized site selection. Okay, so it's currently on the finalized site selection and pre-announcement stage. So the permanent ground is going to be a 200 million training ground. While the club has not yet broken ground, significant backroom progress has been made. So it's going to be a 200 million ground. The site has been secured. The club has identified and settled on the location in Wolsington, close to Newcastle International Airport, and roughly 5 miles from St. James's Park. The land was previously owned by a former club chairman, Sir John Hall. God bless Sir John Hall. So the land has been secured. It's just about breaking ground now. Current status: club executives and Saudi Public Investment Fund (PIF) chiefs are finalising the final paperwork and land purchase contracts. According to club's CEO David Hopkinson, a formal ground unveiling of the blueprints is expected imminently. So we await that. It's saying that the club, there's a report that says that the club intends to begin construction by the end of 2026. It's going to be designed by renowned architects Populous. 200 million hub will house the men's first team, women's team, and youth academy all in one site. Plans feature purpose-built mini stadium, indoor, outdoor pitches, elite recovery spas, and player accommodation. So big investment. So look, we're going to be knocking. I'm going to be knocking for sure. We're going to be knocking on doors on those owners and saying, hey, where's this new training ground? So that's the plan. That's the plan for the new training ground. That is the plan for the new training ground. Let me see what you guys are saying. Excuse me. Andrew Graham says, we cannot allow ourselves to get too attached to players and coaches again. Yeah, for me personally, there's a balance, isn't there? So I don't want to be, and I know you're not saying this, I'm just working it out in my own mind. I don't want to be so distant where I don't have a connection at all, because that would just make football mechanical for me. but I don't want to be so attached where, you know, I have an episode like I did with Isak, and it's just too much. Ian McKenna says, in our hearts we want to win the Premier League next year. We won't. Oh, so in our hearts we know we want. I know you're saying it in there. Let me know. Oh, that we know we won't win it. That year, that's years of. Andrew says, until the financial rules are changed, the other 14 clubs in the Premier League are just feeder clubs to the Cartel 6. Yes or no for me. Yes, in some areas for sure. I think everybody's richer, which makes it more difficult to buy players from each other. Let me see what everyone's saying. Andrew says we would have been better off in the long run qualifying for Europa Conference League or Europa League. I think we went too far too fast. I think that's been kind of the overall assessment from the owners and everybody else, really. Yeah. James says, I thought it was going to be a couple of years away, not this year. They're talking for drink center around 2 years. Many stadiums will be complete when they start to look into the next project. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to have to hear what the blueprints are. James says, could be the new stadium building of the new original stadium. Could be, but I don't think they're going to do that. Who's in the guys? What's going on? Who's in the RIP? Who's in the claim? What's going on? Oh, you guys are joking. I hope you guys are joking around. I was worried. Wobblejog says, I only feel attached to our academy kids, to be honest. So for me, as much as I like Rice, it won't be as bad as Skelly in a rival top. To be honest, that's fair. That's like I think if I saw, I'm never gonna say it. You know who I'm talking about, Wobblejog. In the rival top, I'll be burning. James says PS training center ground. Yeah. Andrew says Project 2030. Everyone laughed but my man Sean Stir will be 20. Will be 22. Yeah, he'll be getting to his stride. Okay. All right, folks. So we've had an absolutely fantastic show. We did cover the Hojberg rejection. We covered the some of the news around this Luis Suaraz. This is, there's some small accounts that are saying that there's a deal that's very, very close. I'll be surprised if we pay £55 million plus add-ons for a soon-to-be 29-year-old striker from the Portuguese league, to be honest. But we'll see. Then we did look at the Jaissle interview, his first at his unveiling. I thought it was a really good interview from himself. Some revealing stuff about him, about how he works, his processing, how he controls the controllables and prioritizes things day to day. His views on Voltamata, which is interesting. How he wishes he was here before we signed our first player. But he's also excited about the project, to be honest. Also, we covered the scouting report written by, I want to make sure I double check myself again, by Bosniak, I think it is. Do give him a like and share. Bosniak, which is a phenomenal, really, really comprehensive report. One of the best reports I've written I didn't write it. By the way, I didn't write it. Sorry. That Bosniak has written on Dedić, showed all his flaws and all, but also, all the good parts, where he's good at. Very, 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 very thorough report. I recommend you guys to also look it up and at least drop a like to him as well, drop him a follow. But we also covered extensively the David Hopkinson interview with George Colkin on The Athletic. Talked all about Newcastle 2.0, which for me was the putting the horse before the cart, the rebuilding of the foundation of Newcastle Football Club. So lots to go on from there, lots of growth, what it all means. I think in the end they're gonna have to start putting bricks to mortar to make this bit a little bit more believable, or at least what's the word? Yeah, add belief into the vision, if that makes sense. But from me so far, there's certainly no pressure from me for Jaissle to get Europe, for instance. I think it's more about him getting his principles and building a Jaissle team that we can say, oh, this is a Jaissle team now. This is what it is, and to build from that, to see the kind of developments. So that's where I'm at with it as well. So let me know you guys' thoughts on all of that. I'll catch up on a couple of chats before we close up. Good to see my man Jonathan here. God bless you. Going for Speaker to the Universe. No way. Andrew says, rumors that Murray Field friendly tomorrow is a trial run as our home while improvements are made to SJB or a new ground is built. It's only an hour or so on train from Newcastle. Really? That's very, very interesting. That would make a lot of sense. So Murrayfield, I'm going to look out for that, Andrew. Thanks for that. That makes a lot of sense. Adrian says, by the way, Phil, hope you're saving your thumbnails and thinking of producing calendars or coffee table books out of them. Yeah, I'm saving them. I'm definitely saving them. I've got them all. I was thinking literally the other day about putting at least some of them on a shirt or hats. Let me know, guys. Would you? I don't know. None of you guys. I say to you guys, contact me on X or something or whatever. Let me know what you want to like. If you want any of this stuff, if you want me to start making hats or shirts with your thumbnail, with either the thumbnails or the Toon Tactics logo, I want to start doing some of that stuff. So yeah, so I might have to just do it, and you guys can see it, and then we'll go on from there. Like I say, bricks to mortar. Start putting hats and shirts and stuff like that. James says, club would be mad if they didn't get to Europe football. That's always a possibility. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So you've been absolutely phenomenal. We had a very, very good show, as always, with you folks. Again, God bless all the folks from Kaz TV, from Never a Foul. God bless the team and all the folks that are up there, my man Kaz, and all you guys that have come in. A lot of you stayed as well. And you've been phenomenal in liking, sharing, subscribing. Thank you to all the folks that were here already from the beginning. Also kept the conversations going. I'm always keen to get you guys' views on what we've been doing. Like to hear the feedback on the thumbnails and everything else. I'm going to build on that and get and see where we take it from there. But as always, folks, make sure you look after each other. Take care, and may God bless you all.
Brilliant from Cher. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Cher.